First off, let's start with something very important to remember. The way the leveling system works in Star Trek Online is as follows. If a player kills an NPC, the player will get a very low amount of experience as a reward. But completing a story arc mission for the first time, this will give the player about 90% to 100% of a level up as a reward in experience points. Which also means that changing the difficulty level from normal to advanced or to elite in story arc missions does not make your character level up faster, as the reward for completing the mission stay the same. Doing this only increases the damage resistance of the enemy and gives the NPCs more hit points overall, meaning that the NPCs are much more difficult to kill. In most missions of the story arc in Star Trek Online, the mission objectives need to have your full attention and to be completed accordingly to various points indicated by this system, which means do not kill off the entire NPC squad that is on the same map as you are, as it is not always part of the objective. This might be fun to do, but in the end, accomplishing the total annihilation of NPC will make missions unnecessarily longer to complete. Try healing yourself all the way to full health during bridge officer mission dialogues, between position markers, and between completing various objectives before engaging your enemy. Staying out of combat a little bit longer will give your ability cooldown timers a chance to reset, and when you are ready to engage your enemies again, you can do so with all your abilities once again. If you have lost line of sight with your enemy due to unforeseen circumstances, you can queue up the large map button M on your keyboard to see where the enemies are located and a somewhat limited information. What type of enemies are there, for an example, beyond the 15-kilometer range in space. Experience boost bought with Zen from the Zen store. In my opinion, these items are priced way too high. Personally, I have never used them, so I cannot comment on something I have not used myself. Inquisitive Tribble. This tribble gives you an increasement of 2% experience points for the next 60 minutes. Though this tribble was a limited time reward and it's now over, meaning you cannot obtain it anymore, I believe this tribble will make a comeback in Star Trek Online in the future, so keep your eyes open for this one. If you are in a fleet that have the research facility leveled up all the way to tier 3, there are boosts that can be slotted to buff the entire fleet for the next 5 days. Try looking for a fleet that you can join that is in a large armada. This will give you a large boost to your experience points. Depending on what role the fleet is in, a alpha, beta or a gamma slot, from 2% all the way to 20% more experience points. Crouching, default button C on your keyboard, gives a player plus 50% dodge chance and minus 100% melee damage resistance. When you take less damage, you will have more time to respond accordingly in ground and space combat. Activate the auto fire for ground weapons, just like in space. It's going to make your ground combat a lot faster and easier. See my other video how to enable this feature. Aiming down the sight button X on your keyboard in ground combat will give you 30% more energy damage to your ground weapons as base damage. Use these aiming down the sight tactics more often to kill your enemies faster. Being at high impulse while piloting your ship in space gives your ship a higher dodge chance, so always keep moving during space combat. Federation, Klingons and Romulans can have ground combat pets. These are the Hordas bought with Zen from the Zen store, or try the exchange if anyone is selling them at an affordable price. Fortunately, from the Klingons they can obtain a trained Jackal Mastiff from the mission Manhunt as a mission reward. If you are looking for a bit more firepower in space, Scorpion Fighters is a rare consumable device which can give you up to 6 fighters deployed at one time. This rare ship device is a mission reward from the Vault. Star Trek Online environment is a very social-based game. If you happen to come across a friend that has bought the game and is enjoying the 700-day veteran reward, teaming up with that player will give the entire team an increasement of 5% experience points. Exert control over your bridge officers. See my other video on this matter. Try luring enemies to attack your bridge officers first. Also lure the enemy NPC away from objectives. Utilizing these tactics makes the enemy NPC aggro the bridge officers instead of you. If a bridge officer dies off, they can be resurrected at the same spot. If a player character dies, players must respawn at a spawn point. Sometimes this means a lot of time spent walking to get to the point where you died. Also, after a player character is dead, most likely the bridge officers will die off very soon. Promote your bridge officers as fast as possible. You will have access to more abilities as you promote your bridge officers. They are an important key to your endeavors in Star Trek Online as well as for your entertainment purposes. Bridge officers have different traits and passive abilities. Choose bridge officers wisely as they will boost your entire team on ground map and in space give your ship various passive abilities. Bridge officers have different skills. Here is where you can buy some new basic skills. Also make sure you select the new ability for your bridge officers to be used. In ground combat, your bridge officers can use the same gear as you can. Give them the gear you are currently not using. They will love you for it. In ground combat, try to lure your enemy away with your bridge officers and then take position behind the enemies, killing your enemies from the back. This is called flanking in Star Trek Online. Flanking does much more damage. Flanking can also be used in space combat. Position your ship at the rear arc of an enemy NPC ship and enjoy killing the enemies by stabbing them in the back. According to DS9 Ilium Garak, this is the safest way. Do not give your bridge officers any consumable, tribbles or festive items. They will continuously use them, including while you are in combat. In some cases this might be fun to see, but in the end it will cost you time and frustration. Sometimes after killing an NPC they will drop loot. Grab these drops and use them if you can. These drops are good enough for you to level up on, and if not, there is an NPC where you can buy decent gear for leveling up your character. Also, if you don't like what the NPC is selling, try the exchange to buy yourself and your bridge officer some better ground gear and some gear for your ship than the one that you are currently using. Each time you finish a mission, clean out your inventory accordingly. Give your character the best gear and then gear up your bridge officers or ship and then sell or discard useless items. Warfare Specialist Duty Officers. Having them in your active roster for ground or space will give you an increase of 2.5% damage against a particular enemy. Choose wisely. Warfare Specialist can be found on the exchange. Doing duty officer assignment missions will give you various experience points as well. Every little bit helps, so start doing duty officer assignment mission while you are playing. You will earn experience points via the duty officer assignment system. Having a duty officer in your active slot with the profession consultant under the engineering category can be found on the exchange as well, will give you up to 4% increasement of experience points. There are way too many traits for both ground and space to include all of them in this video, but the purpose of this video is to level up your character as fast as possible. So I'm going to mention a personal ground trait I believe is the most useful of them all to killing your enemies as fast as possible. Personal ground trait Hive Mind, found on the exchange or by opening the Zindi terrestrial lockbox. Having Hive Mind slotted as a trait will make your ground weapons do more damage. Hive Mind gives you a 2% bonus damage per each team member within 20 meters. This also applies when you have bridge officers. Since you have 4 bridge officers when you are doing ground missions, you will have a total of 8% increasement of your total ground weapon base damage. For ground, there are small, medium, large hypos, and small, medium, large shield charges, and small, medium, large power cells. They flat out heal your character's hit points, restore your personal shield hit points, and increase the total energy damage dealt by your character. The same applies to space. They are called batteries. Use all of them. If you feel like the cooldown of the consumables are too high, there are duty officers that can lower the cooldown timer of consumables. You can find these at the exchange under the medical tab and look for a biochemist. Here is a summary of what these tips and tricks can do for you. Combat performance boost plus 20% all damage, ground and space. Crouching plus 50% dodge. Aiming down the sight plus 30% more damage. Warfare specialist plus 2.5% more damage. Hive mind plus 8% increasement in ground damage. Large consumables gives 37.5% more damage. A total damage increasement by 98%. Inquisitive Tribble plus 2% experience points. Being in an armada plus 20% more experience points. Teaming up with a 700-day veteran player plus 5% experience points. Consultant plus 4% experience points. A total increasement in experience points by 31%.